Welcome back to the Beyond the Arc podcast. Dallas, once again, joined by Levi. Levi, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. You doing all right?
Yeah, man, doing pretty well. Well, Levi, I guess we should kick off the podcast by discussing Tennessee's performance down at the Mar, I guess how you pronounce it, tournament. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a better performance. Probably Virginia, you'd like to see a little bit better offense, but other than that, we couldn't ask for better results. Levi, I'll let you kick things off and let everyone know your thoughts coming out of the tournament.
Thanks, man. The Virginia game, the first half was about as bad as I think you'll probably see this team play offensively. And I'm not sure if it's just the fact that Virginia, I mean, we had forgot his name, but we had him on last week, and yeah, he was telling us that they're still playing that physical style of defense, and for some reason we struggled with it heavily in the first half. Obviously, turned it on in the second. Chaz Lanier got going. That helped a lot. Chaz was tournament MVP, so he obviously played really well. But the first half is not ideal for what you would expect from this team with the offense that they've played so far this season. Even at Louisville, they looked a lot better than that. So then the Baylor game, I mean, there's not much you can say other than Chaz Lanier and Jordan Gainey just turned it on. Igor had a great game. So the Baylor game is about maybe as good as we'll see this team play offense against a really, really good team. So I was happy with it.
Absolutely. I mean, you touched on the Virginia game, and at the beginning, at halftime, I was like, "Are we about to have a repeat of whatever happened against Georgetown a few years ago when the final score was like 36-32?" But Tennessee turned it on in the second half. Zakai Ziegler struggled a little bit, went 0-6 from three. Chaz Lanier, as you mentioned, against Virginia was probably the reason why Tennessee won that game. 26 points, 10 of 23 from the field, 6 of 12 from three. Felix Arpara kind of struggled offensively in the tournament. He went 2 of 6 against Virginia and just 1 of 1 against Baylor. But if you got Chaz Lanier and Gainey and guys like that going off, you don't really need much offense from Arpara. Whatever he brings you is pretty much icing on the cake, I feel like. And yeah, man, I mean, that that 3 minute stretch from Chaz Lanier, I'm not going to say it was as good as anything I saw Dalton Connect do, but I was absolutely losing my mind, man. How was you reacting in the moment?
Oh, I was going crazy. I mean, I got a new baby cat over here, and I was standing up and throwing stuff, and the cat was looking at me like I was crazy. But I mean, you nailed it, truly, Dallas. That's as close to of what we could possibly see Dalton Connect wise with Chaz, which I do think Chaz has just as much of a good offensive game, a little bit better defender. I don't think he takes people off the dribble as well as Dalton did. Probably doesn't finish around the rim as well, but pure shooting wise, it'd be tough for me to say that Chaz isn't on that Dalton level.
The only thing I will say about that performance is if Dalton Connect has that same exact performance, he probably finishes with about 40 to 50 points because Chaz didn't score in the second. And with Dalton Connect, you know he's going to score in the next quarter. He said once he got on, he never really went cold. So I feel like Dalton probably, if he would have had the type of performance, we would have seen some really crazy stuff there. But yeah, as we was talking about also with Okpara earlier, and then you mentioned Milicic. Milicic had a pretty solid tournament as well. He, as you said, 14 points against Virginia, and then 10 points against Baylor. Went 3 of 4 from the field against Baylor, and then 5 of 10 from the field against Virginia. And we really got to shout out Cade Phillips. I mean, he kind of struggled in the Virginia game, just two. No, actually, two personal fouls. I was reading at his rebounds. Two personal fouls, 0-1 from the field. But then against Baylor, 11 points, 4 boards, went 4-4 from the field. And I will touch on why that is so huge in just a second. But Levi, do you have anything else you want to add before we move into some pretty not so positive news?
I believe personally that we got to give Jordan Gainey his flowers. I thought he played really well in the tournament. His defense has
Absolutely.
picked it up a lot this year. Last year, every time he touched the floor, I was like, this guy's going to give up a bucket. He's gotten bigger. He's got stronger. His defense, he's moving his feet. He's communicating well. He actually had a higher offensive rating in the Baylor game than Chaz Lanier did, if you can believe that, which is kind of hard to believe. But we had a lot of guys that had a great game against Baylor, and hopefully that's the type of team we get to see throughout the rest of the season. Because if they can play like they did against Baylor, then this team can accomplish maybe more than last year's team did.
Absolutely. And you also had guys shout out Jemai Mashack. He didn't do much offensively against Baylor, but man, was he everywhere on defense. And you could tell it frustrated Baylor. Uh, Edgecombe, you could tell that he was absolutely in fits. His Mashack was just out there like his hair was on fire. But anyway, switching gears to the not so positive news of the day. JP Estrella is out for the season after undergoing surgery on his foot for a stress fracture. Levi, any first initial thoughts?
I always thought that there was something up with him this year so far. He wasn't really playing the minutes that I expected. I didn't know that he was battling that type of injury, but you could tell something was a little off with him even when he was in the games. I hate it that he's out. It's not ideal for our team because we have depth down low, but I didn't expect us to have to play guys like Phillips, and possibly now it looks like we're going to see some more Meshack at the four. I'm not entirely sure what Barnes will do with his rotation, but it is a shame that we're going to lose a piece that a lot of people thought would take a big step this year to, like you said, a stress fracture. So I hope he gets better. But the silver lining here is we will now be able to redshirt him,
Yeah.
and he's got a ton of potential. So
And I mean, shout out to him for playing through that. I mean, I can't imagine the pain he was going through and still get out there and try to go through it. That shows this character. Coming off of that performance against Zach Edey in the NCAA tournament, yeah, had some pretty high hopes for him, and it's a shame that it ends like this. But hopefully, on the plus side, he's able to take the time to heal up and come back even better next season. So now, as we transition from that, we're going to do something new here on the Beyond the Arc podcast, and we're going to do a little segment that my lack of creativity has just named Guess That UT Player. Levi, I'm going to give you his birthplace, and then you can ask a few questions. You have 10 questions you can ask, and then you can give your guess. I'm going to start out with he's from Rutledge, Tennessee.
Rutledge, Tennessee, what position? Can you give me that?
Guard.
Are we doing current players or former?
It's pretty much anyone from the early 90s to current.
Oh Lord, put me on the spot here. I'm gonna take a guess of Dane Bradshaw.
That is an X. You get three X's, and then I'll give you the name. Any other questions or hints you would like?
Can you give me the year?
2009 to 2013.
Skylar McBee.
Ding, ding, ding. I
Watched
guess
him
that,
play at Granger High School. Man, he could. I watched him play in a playoff game, or a state playoff game, and I think he had like 46 or 47. He was one of the most incredible things to watch when I think I was 2009. Yeah, I was a freshman in high school at that point in time. So
I still remember the 3-point shot he hit against Kansas that night. That was insane. But yeah, as I was trying to find a player to name, I typed in Chat GPT. I said, "Give me a random UT player from the early '90s to the current age." And the first one was Chris Lofton, and I said, "Man, there's no way I
uh,
can really disguise that one.
no disguise in that one at all.
Absolutely not." So
I believe we play a weird game at 4 o'clock Wednesday, so that's
yep,
going to be a strange one. I'll took off work to go to it, so it's just a strange game time for me. I would prefer for us to be playing in one of these Thanksgiving tournaments. I
yeah,
like it. I like it when I'm at the family's house and we can turn on the Tennessee game and everybody has something to pay attention to. So this will be the first year in a while because last year it was the Maui, the year before it was Battle for Atlantis. So the Baha Mar, I'm not a huge fan of that one because of how early it is, but at least we kind of get some standalone games with that one, a little bit more media attention on you.
yeah. I can't really watch games around people. That's because I mean I'm too I get pretty animated, and it's embarrassing.
That's how I am with football. Basketball, I try to remain a little calm when I'm around the family so that
I'm
my family doesn't hate me.
I'm pretty much the reverse. Football, I'm just sitting there watching it, having a good time. And when it comes to basketball, you would think I'm a maniac getting ready to.
I don't blame you, man. It's tough. It's tough to watch the basketball games. I have season tickets to the men's games, and we kind of sit in a section where we get a lot of an away fans in the
Yeah.
area. And last year during the Auburn game, I was about 2 seconds away from likely being thrown out. So try to keep my mouth shut at those games. Name for that.
Well, I guess we'll wrap it up here, and it's kind of shorter episode. But when you're playing UT Martin, there's really not much to talk about. I mean, I think me and you both believe Tennessee's going to win that game.
I'm not worried about that. I am excited for the stretch run we have coming up after this one, early December. Syracuse at home,
Yeah, absolutely.
Miami in the dungeon of where I hate to watch us play, and then on the road at Illinois. That should be a fun little stretch. I'm pretty excited for that stretch. It's always fun to play Power 5 teams, regardless of how good they are in and out of conference play.
Yeah,
So
I've seen some people kind of annoyed with Tennessee's draw in the ACC SEC challenge, but I mean, it feels like we don't really play some of those ACC schools a lot. I mean, it always has been North Carolina for almost as long as I can remember, and to finally get someone else, it kind of seems refreshing to me.
I'm totally fine with our draw. I I expected us to be, maybe I wouldn't say shafted, but the ACC is not as potent of a conference as it used to
Nah,
be. I do
at
have one
least
note.
okay, go for it.
There's a guy in the Memphis Yukon game pulling for Memphis wearing a Peyton Manning 18 jersey. What is this guy doing?
I just saw that. If I had to guess, it's just someone for Tennessee pride, I would hope. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know.
Interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it
Got
really
a
makes no.
prediction for who you think will win the Maui Invitational this year?
I'm just gonna go North Carolina.
I don't mind that pick at all. They'll pack that stadium out, have a really good fan base there. I'm gonna go ahead and take Iowa State. I think their defense in that gym will be
I
just
I like
annoying
that.
enough.
I guess we can wrap things up unless you have anything else you want to touch on.
No, sir. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving.
You too. I hope everyone listening has a happy Thanksgiving and go Vols.
Balls.